Meeting to the order of the Public Safety Committee for September 5th, 2019. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Alms.
Here.
Alderperson Hall.
Here.
Alderperson Morset.
Here, minutes of the regular meeting, August 8th, 2019.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Meetings of the special meeting, August 29th, 2019.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Thank you. Number 4, parking. Discussion, possible action on truck, tractor, or trailer parking on Dominion Drive. Mr. Mike.
Yes. Good evening. Mike Maraz, Director of Public Works. A resident had reached out to me a couple different times about a nuisance in her area. It's on Dominion Drive. It's out in front of an apartment complex. Apparently there's some semi-trailers parking on street next to the apartment complex, running their refrigeration systems overnight, causing her to not be able to sleep, so on and so forth. She's reached out to the police department. There's really nothing on the books that's enforceable. In our current ordinances, semi-trailers are limited to 30 minutes in a residential, an hour in industrial, and then it doesn't address anything in commercial. So I don't know if it was written like that on purpose. We can try and sign it, but I'm just afraid if we sign, there's businesses and people that live in the apartments that utilize that on-street parking. So I don't want to sign people away from it because it does get used during the day. There is some commercial property attached to this 901 Dominion. So I told her I'd bring it to public safety and just get your thoughts on it and see if there's any direction that you'd want to move forward with.
Catchy, no truck parking during evening hours from 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. to
Yeah.
6 a.m.
Yeah, that probably might be the easiest solution. No truck or trailer parking from 10 to 6 or something like that.
I think that would be the fastest, cleanest way.
Yeah. We'll do it on both sides.
I agree.
I'll move to do so.
Second.
Any other discussion? Jeff, nothing?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Perfect.
Thank you.
You said 10 to 6? 10
10 p.m. to
6?
6 a.m. Yeah. B, discussion possible action on public purchasing parking spaces. I know let me just start off by saying this would be a terrible idea for any city to do, because then you're opening it up to everybody wanting to buy a
Yeah, it's a slippery slope.
Jeff, sorry. Excuse-
No, I think it's a slippery slope, but I was contacted by a representative of a business group downtown that wanted me to bring this forward, so it's basically, here we are.
Any thoughts?
Currently, we do that there's one business that we dedicate 1 or 2 parking spots for, which is also adjoined with the library lot and the police department lot. But that's the only place. The other ones are like permit only. So there are places downtown where if you're visiting a certain store or if you live in a certain area, that it's permit parking only for those spots. But those entities do not own those specific parking spots.
So they could get, the permit goes with the car or goes with the
Goes with the business.
business? Okay. So, but if an employee wants to buy, or to get a parking permit, does it go with their car or does it go to?
If an individual wants to get a permit, it'll have to go with the car, especially with the new system.
Yeah, okay,
So I don't even know.
So with the new system, it's going to be really, would
It's
be
gonna be
really
tricky.
difficult to track if somebody who was using a particular permit. We wouldn't be able to do that, okay?
This is just something that we can't start doing. It would just get
It would, yeah,
completely out of control. And we're in the midst of trying to figure out and clean up what we have downtown as it is. We'll have to be taking a look, like the Williams lot. Those were never, whoever put those signs up for just futon parking only, we don't know. Should have never happened, unless it's a record somewhere, but as far as I know, we don't, so. What's your pleasure? I'll move we deny the action on any purchasing of parking spaces. We're so limited right now, we can't.
I'll second with a question though. What about those that exist already, are they ultimately grandfathered in?
Yeah.
with
Most of the
parking?
time.
I would assume so. I don't, like I said, I don't know how those came to be. I just know that they exist.
Typically, when we change ordinances over the years, everything from that point on, when it was approved, is grandfathered in, and that's with any ordinance. Now, it doesn't mean we can't revisit that
I
issue.
was gonna say, could we do like some sort of sunset clause, you know?
Well, that's what I was saying, is that once we get the parking up and running, we're gonna be cleaning up as much as we possibly can, as far as permits, parking lots, just cleaning up the language, not only the language, but who can reserve, who cannot reserve, all that kind of stuff. Still a lot of work to be done. If that answers your question.
It does, thank you.
Any other questions?
No, I agree with you that it would take up too many spaces if we started doing that.
No further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? Motion carries. 5, discussion possible action on speed hump criteria. Joyce, this is yours with Mike.
Yes, so, all right, the speed hump policy that's in our agenda packet is from Minneapolis. Mike put together a policy, or, a rough draft of a policy, and got it to me about a week ago. I've taken a look at it, and we discussed it this afternoon. Mike suggested that we wait until the city engineer's on board, because he's got some traffic safety experience and traffic engineering experience, so I think that's a good idea. I realize that you haven't even seen it yet, so I think the first step is for Mike to send out a copy of it to
Seeing what?
the rough draft that he's,
Yeah, we've got it, don't we?
no, that's the Minneapolis one, that's
Oh,
in the
you actually
packet.
have what you were doing, okay.
Yep. I didn't even realize that until today when I was looking through this. I went, that's not what I've got here from Mike. I guess they haven't even seen it, so I guess we shouldn't even be discussing it, and I don't think it would be a good idea to take any action on this right now. So what Mike and I talked about too is that it would be nice to have this in place by early spring. So we've got some time. So the city engineer is starting in October. So I think that a good step would be for us to look at have Mike get it out to everybody so that you can look at it before the next meeting. And then, bring any suggestions or concerns to the next meeting. And then Mike and I can arrange a meeting with the new city engineer to go over it and talk about it and see what his viewpoint is, and then bring it back to the November meeting as well.
Okay.
So,
Is that a motion to postpone?
motion to postpone.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mike, anything to add right now? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Number 6, discussion possible action on St. Pat's Fall and Wellness Walk on Wednesday, September 18th, 2019, 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on 4th Street between St. Croix Street and River Street.
Yep, so St. Pat's would like to do their annual Faith and Wellness Walk, where they close off the street right in front of St. Pat's School with the barricades. That's the return point for all the students as they come back. And then they do some sort of a demonstration or presentation out there in front of the school. So several years ago, they started doing this, and they started to ask for that street area to be closed off just to make it safer for the kids. Like I said, this is not the first year that they've done this.
Does that work? Any issues?
Yeah, we've had no issues in the past. We've had no issues with their walk. They've got plenty of crossing guards and adult supervision to help the kids cross the street at crosswalks along their walk, and when they get back there, it's pretty self-contained, so it's not been an issue.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Number 7, discussion, possible action on closing 3rd Street between Orange Street and Division Street for Halloween.
So another thing that we started doing last year, essentially there was talk of it several years before that. It went off really without a hitch last year, and we got a lot of very favorable comments from all the citizens down there. The one change would be to allow St. Croix Street still open. Let me see.
Last year, it was just, was it Orange to St. Croix?
Yeah,
that
so
was
last
blocked
year it
off?
was Orange to St. Croix, but we unknowingly didn't include the residents in between St. Croix and Division Street who also participate in the event. So this year, we're asking to close essentially all of Third Street, with the exception of leaving St. Croix Street open, because really there was no other thoroughfare for people to get from downtown
Right.
to where they needed to get to, because we had St. Croix Street closed also at Third.
You can have an officer and barricades on both.
So we'll have officer and barricade on Division Street, officer and barricades on both sides of St. Croix Street, officer and barricade at Orange Street, and then just barricades at the other cross streets.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Yeah, I think this is the safest way to do it because it just gets out of hand.
It is, and I actually went
Yeah.
down there last year for the first time in several years, and it is a zoo down there. I mean, it was, if any of you have gone to the fair this year, it was similar to that.
Wow.
Shoulder to shoulder people all from sidewalk across the street to the other sidewalk.
Growing up on First Street, we used to run up there and get the big candy bars, but now it's still going.
It's still
It's
going.
even better.
Yeah, I was reading on Facebook, people were talking about that and saying how many kids, and the residents were saying how many candy bars they were handing out, and it was a lot. Will the officers at St. Croix Street, will they help with the kids crossing?
Yep, so
St.
part of
Croix?
their responsibility is also to help people cross St. Croix Street safely, yep.
Okay.
Chief St. Martin.
I think we talked about this last year. I don't think there's an issue, but just kind of say it again, is make sure there's nothing permanent set up out in the street that is open. It's just people and not things that if we have to access either the ambulance or us, just so they know that.
Yep, and that's why we have just the barricades there, but on the main entrance points, we have the officer with a barricade to assist if there's something that happens. They can move a car, move a barricade. There's someone there right there that can take care of that.
Yeah, they're not setting up bouncy houses. Who knows, they're up in the streets that we have access.
Streets are maintained open other than people.
Make sure they know that, Jeff, in a memo or whatever, email or whatever.
That's what's great, having the officers there, and they'll make sure that happens. But
Any further discussion? Do we vote on that?
Not yet. I do have a question.
Yeah.
So did you receive any negative comments?
The only negative comments I received were the St. Croix Street remaining closed,
Got it.
and then maybe a little bit more communication to the neighbors, which last year I thought that was going to be taking place from the neighbors. So
So is that something that you're compensating for this year?
it's something that we will take care of this year. Yeah, we will work with the handful of property owners that reached out to me, and we will make sure that together we are sending out a good communication.
Very good.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Number 8, discussion, possible action on River Valley Deer Management Contract. This is something we've been doing for the last, 10 years?
8, I think.
8 years? It's a good thing. I think we just need to pass it, but I would like to see at the council an updated contract with the updated numbers of deer population. I think it's, who does that?
Lon Fay.
Lon sends it in? Lon Faya?
Is that something that Jeff, your office does, or is that something I do?
Deb, I think, has been.
Deb, there's a permit application that she takes care of.
I'll move we approve that with the updated population numbers and updated contract dates, et cetera.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion opposed, motion passes. Number 9, discussion possible action on the Lakeville EMS transition. John, I know that we on council on Monday, I believe we approved the contract for lease. I don't know if your attorneys have figured that out.
Yep, so we got the final signatures on our end today, and I believe Nate Paulsher dropped that off here at the city this afternoon.
Okay.
So that should all be good to go.
Any other updates, any questions
Um,
or info?
No, nothing's really changed since we met last Thursday. We're ready to go on Monday morning. We do need, the county knows about it, but Terry Anderson asked if someone from the city could send a letter, an email, whatever, just confirming that as of Monday morning, the EMS service will change over to Lakeview.
What time is that happening?
6 AM.
600?
6:01 Monday, I would guess. You okay with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did email Terry this afternoon and just, I said, have you received the notifications you needed? And he replied back and just said, not from the city, so. And he sent an email, I think he included a couple people on the council, and I think including the mayor on there, just saying, can someone please just email us to give us the official notice? They just want something in writing. I don't think that's going to change anything if they don't receive it, but
I think it will, because unless they get from my understanding, unless they get notification in writing, they won't change their CAD. So at 6:01, they'll dispatch St. Croix EMS per protocol because they've never officially been notified.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Late hour, but will you make sure that gets transmitted to the mayor and the city attorney?
So I just looked at my email. It looks like he sent it out today at 3:34. I received it. I can send it to you, Melanie.
Send it out,
So that we can,
double it, pass it on to the mayor and
Yep.
Catherine.
Is the mayor on there?
he is not. City clerk is.
Okay.
yeah, city clerk.
We need a
And Bill.
letterhead and a signature dispatch ASAP.
Yep.
Anything else, John?
I think that's it. Bridget, you got anything you think of?
Did they make any headway on the equipment sale to Lakeview?
I can bring that up too. Actually, I do want to mention too, I think on Thursday, I had mentioned here that I was informed on Thursday that Helen Pullen from the state was no longer with the office, but I saw some emails from her today. So I think that was just a rumor, so she's still there. The equipment, we have not received any fair market value pricing on any of the equipment. So I've reached out to Ambulance Trader. That's what the industry uses for basing fair market value. They do have, I know last week they didn't, but now today they have a 2018 road rescue on there. So we're going to have to work through trying to figure out where we're going to come up with fair market pricing on that.
Jess, have you done any of that?
Everybody, road rescue that I talked to originally said that they also use Ambulance Trader to kind of gauge the fair market value for ambulances, so.
Okay.
So the guy emailed me back this afternoon from there, and, you know, it's, you have three options. You either want to sell something or buy something. So I said I want to sell something, hoping he'd give me the price. I put in all the details of your two ambulances here, and of course, then he wants to call me, he needs pictures, and, you know, so I'll have to call him and just say, this is what, we're trying to get pricing on this vehicle. I don't know if he'll like that, because we're not going through him then to either buy or sell, but there are some other options out there. I can reach out to our ambulance broker and see, but I know in the past, he's told me just what your sales guy told you, is we use American, or Ambulance Trader. They're the largest trader of ambulances in the country.
Okay.
So
Just
that's
keep
where
us
we're at.
posted on that.
So I guess my question is, we have two ambulances that they want, and there's a third one that we are kind of planning on putting somewhere, but we're not sure we can handle the other two. So in the meantime, what would you want to do with the two ambulances, or do you want them to take possession, or do they have a place to put them? Is my question.
So I did email our attorney last week and just told him what our interest was, that we would like to purchase the two ambulances, the 2018 and the 2016, is that right? And then some of the capital equipment, the cardiac monitor, two of the cardiac monitors, the stretchers in both ambulances. What else was there?
Vent.
Oh, vent, possibly the vent. We did have our sales rep from Zoll on the vent side over yesterday at our office, and he was just saying that vent is, it's not even available anymore. They don't sell it anymore, so it's not able to be upgraded to the vents that we currently have. So I don't know anymore that we would be interested in that. But anyway, so what my reply to our attorney to check with Kathy was, if we could do a purchase agreement with the city that we would like to purchase this equipment, and whatever happens between now and January, we'd like to be able to pay for it in January. That's the start of our new fiscal year, and I can just shift things around on my capital budget for 2020.
Is there room at the ward buildings, or have you filled those up?
We've kind of filled those up.
How about the east or west garage?
They're all pretty full. That's why we were kind of planning on putting one up there, the third one, and kind of putting the equipment that may or may not, that we feel has some value, we really don't know. I just kind of got involved the last day or so to kind of help Mike and I, so.
Bottom line is we need to store them. So we're not gonna let the.
And again, it's, yeah, no, and it's kind of the 11th hour. That's my question, is if you know they want them and you know they're gonna pay fair market value, is it better to let them have them now? Or the other thing is we have to make sure our insurance continues on them with the city clerk and stuff. So I mean, and there's a lot of equipment in there. Even up there, we've already been broken into a couple times. It's not the most secure place because it's not really monitored, especially it's a little more attractive now with the construction going on. So I'm just kind of bringing it up that.
No, it's good that you did, because we've got to figure it out. And we could keep them in there or transfer them right now contingent upon the attorney's agreements and the purchase
And
agreement.
that's why I just brought up, if we do a purchase agreement, we're agreeing to purchase those. If we take possession of them prior to paying for them, that's what needs to be worked out with the attorneys.
So that's what we need to do.
Okay, do you need a motion?
Yeah.
All right.
You got something?
So the motion would be to direct the attorney to work out a
Purchase
purchase
agreement.
agreement.
And an agreement of transfer until bill laid on January or what.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? Josh, you got anything to add to that?
No, just, I don't know, third ambulance shouldn't be an issue either because.
38 million?
No, the third ambulance.
Oh,
Because I know Glenwood City's interested, but they've only been speaking with the mayor, so I'm not sure where they're at
okay.
aspect though either, so.
Well, we don't have time to sit around and wait for this, so we got to get it.
Should we direct the city attorney to contact Glenwood City about,
Well, let's get our stuff done first
Okay.
and worry about them.
all right,
Don't you think?
I get, the question is, could you have a place to store those?
Yeah, we'd probably put them in service.
Yeah, I mean,
For sure, we'd just put in
and
service.
I'm not involved in any negotiations or anything else, but Mike and I were just trying to figure out where to put them and the liability that the city has. If they're willing to pay fair market value, which it sounds like they are, and that's what the city wants, my suggestion would be to just write a contract and they're theirs at 6 a.m. as long as they agree to pay fair market value. I don't know, is it a roll of the dice? Yeah, proof of insurance? I don't know, but in the meantime, we need to, or put them somewhere, or they can store them. But it worries me a little bit, the security of wherever we store them, and that's my concern. And I think, I'm not speaking for Mike, but I think he shares a little bit of
Well,
the
the
same
motion
concern.
includes a transfer agreement
Yeah, so,
as soon as they can get one written up.
yeah.
And then that, I guess you would keep them where you have them.
Yeah, if we put them in, well, we'll put one in service for sure. Probably the 2018 we would put in service.
And then you said you possibly could store one.
West garage.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a plan.
so that would be, yeah, that would take care of things.
Everybody good with that? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Thanks, chief. All right, informational items. Anything for next time?
I got a call today about the corner of 12th and Fillmore. Jerry Warnken had come to our meeting at one point about the stop signs and stuff, and he said he would really like to see crosswalks painted on the, on that corner. So
That should go to public.
that should go to public,
No, it should start here, and then we'll send
start
it to
here?
them.
So put it on next week, next month's
Yeah.
agenda? Okay.
Can I
And
bring
and
up,
also possibly crosswalks at 11th and Fillmore as well.
Well, you got a hot spot over there with stuff, don't you?
Well, you know, things have changed a lot
Yeah.
with the construction at the high school, so, yeah, there's going to be
That's
some big changes that need to
We'll
be
wade our
made.
way through it as we go.
Yep.
John?
I just, one other thing to bring up too, I don't know what Josh's thought is on this, but the disposable equipment that you guys have that's over there, you know, it's really hard to put a value on that because it loses its value immediately when you throw it on the shelf. And we have, you know, there's a fairly large first responder group out there that I think could use that equipment if it's comes to a point where you don't have anywhere to put it or anybody to take it. You know, the police department may be able to utilize some of that stuff for your bags. I don't know what you have, but if you guys would maybe think about that too for that disposable type equipment.
Was that something you got a plan to go through or have gone through? All right. So we should, we're gonna have to do that. That's a good idea, though.
And we can help you with that too. If,
Okay.
you know, and the fire department might want some too.
And I think, Mike, you're gonna have people Monday morning downstairs moving out stuff?
Got a dumpster coming, we'll have guys here at 6:30, I don't know if they have anybody.
Yeah, we'll be here
It'd be
too.
nice to have
Yeah.
people around that know what's going on. Josh kind of talked to him today about what Lakeview wants downstairs. to
Yeah.
not get rid of.
Yeah.
But that's some of those soft items like gloves, tape, you know.
Yeah.
It'd be just nice to have.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be here at 6 a.m. Bridget and I for sure. I think Nate was going to come over and then our crews will be here too. So.
Any other EMS update? Do you have anything, Josh?
I got nothing.
Fire department, Chief St. Martin.
The footings are in at the fire station. They're moving forward. We had some soil correction that wasn't planned, obviously. So that's coming in, but they're taking care of it. We haven't seen the bill. It looks like we're hoping not to exceed 30,000, but that's why we have a contingency. Everything else is going well. We're kind of fighting the weather a little bit as far as the concrete, if they can get the concrete in or not this year for the driveway. That might set us back a little bit, but otherwise everything's still on schedule and moving forward. You know, watch the camera and on the website, the September 16th, they're scheduled to start bringing in the walls. So that'll be about a 3-week to a month process, and they'll be tipping up the walls and the roof. So other than that, just a lot of meetings, a lot of odds and ends that you run into along the way, but so far it's been going well, and happy with Market and Johnson. I believe they may come to the first meeting in October, the project manager, and just basically field any questions in that from council. So we'll try and get on the agenda with that. We're hoping to be out of the other building by June 1st if everything goes well, and that's when we plan on turning it over to the city, basically. And so what the plans are, I don't know, but the council, I guess, can decide that. But again, if and when we turn that over at that point, there will be that parking lot that's available, and that you know, depending at the time, may open up spots, temporary or not, I don't know. That's talking about the parking situation. And then the other thing is, as much as I don't like talking about the subject, food trucks, I know is going, I think, to Public Works. I think it should possibly come here. Also, we have some concern as far as like Ansel systems for deep fryers. I also think we need to take it one step further, and that's when we allow the special events and that permit, we also need to have some specifications for those too that come in and do it. We've been trying to get down there, but we, you know, as far as what people do, as far as the fire hazards and LP tanks and all that, we really don't have a lot in place, but I think we should have some in there for those vendors also.
I do know the health inspector goes through those.
Yeah.
I've seen her in and
I
out.
mean, we try to get down, but there's some, I think this year some people had some fryers and stuff that didn't have protection, just different issues, and they've been pretty good, but I just think we have to, if we're gonna look at this food truck, we also have to look at like the conditions and that, and be also for our special events, when they bring trailers and stuff in, and probably treat them all the same and not differently as far as minimum requirements for sanitation and that too, so. Fire stuff.
Good, thank you. Police Department.
No, school's back in session, so just, a lot of kids, a lot of school buses, a lot more traffic driving around at morning hours and afternoon hours near the schools, so I just ask that everybody pay attention, slow down, pay attention to what's going on.
So you have two school resource officers, so where are you at strength-wise? Where are we at as far as officers?
Well, on paper, we're full staff. 3 of them are currently in school, with a potential of 2 more openings here coming up in the next near future.
Okay.
So
Is there a list? You've got a list?
there's a list, yeah. We're ready to go. We've got a couple other people that are in school that we can hire from if those positions open up.
Oh, good.
So on paper, we're at full staff, right? But we're not going to reap the benefit of that for another few months, so. But we're moving in the right direction.
Okay, very good. Any questions for any of the chiefs? Seeing none other items for the future agendas. Jeff, Chief, we need to figure out this parking thing, and I saw the paper article, but lots of questions are being asked. What's the implementation? What's the holdup?
Yeah, we just had another meeting today before I came down here, and it sounds like it's another at least month or 2 out from implementation.
Because of one software piece?
Well, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Now it's, ordering the paper for the printing machine, for the tickets for the printing machines is a minimum of 4 weeks out, and the data transfer that they have to do with our current parking system. Yeah, we have been having meetings once a week with Flowbird and Passport, and next meeting next week is with Flowbird, and we will be having very serious conversations.
Well, obviously, our parking committee missed something with this.
I don't think it's anything that the parking committee did wrong. I think it was a miscommunication from the vendor.
Okay.
We have had the parking pay stations in place since the end of June. And for some reason, at the time they ordered those, they didn't communicate to Passport to order the rest of the stuff. And then that stuff was put on hold without telling us because of the permit issues before we figure out how to do permits. Well, why that had to be on hold, nobody really understands. So we're still waiting for the LPR to come in and the software to come in, and then we just theoretically ordered the paper materials today, which are a minimum of 4 weeks out.
So there's nothing else to be done. You guys are on top of it.
We're on top of it. There's nothing that the committee did wrong. It's for us to deal with the vendor.
Now, mind you, when I say committee, I'm pointing at me.
Yeah, I realize that.
Did we miss something?
Yeah. No, I don't think we did. I think that we were just we thought that because the 2 vendors that we were working with were well-versed in this process, that they would have been a little more upfront, but.
One thing we're going to have to reinvest in for that, and we can talk about it at the next meeting, is rolling it out again and having a better marketing because of the delay. And education.
Agreed, but yeah, the parking car is built, it's ready to go, the signs are here, if not shortly, and ready to be installed, but we can't do any of that until we get this other stuff, and we've been in that position for at least a month.
So what about the marketing piece of that? Has somebody been hired to do all that?
We had them hired, yes, and there just really isn't anything to do yet. I mean,
Until it's ready to go?
Right.
Well, could the marketing department or group do a little bit more communication of what to expect when it does happen, and let people know why we're waiting, so that, we're getting questions about that. It's
Well, it
it's
was
on
in the
Facebook.
paper.
Yeah, I saw it in the paper, so that helps.
That did explain exactly what you just
Okay, I
said.
haven't read the article, I just saw that it was in the paper, so that's good, that helps.
But yes, to your point, we need to roll it out again and get back
Yeah,
on time.
essentially the kickoff meetings, which is what these weekly meetings are, that started last week. This was our second kickoff meeting. That's what starts the whole process. And unbeknownst to us, we should have started this kickoff meeting back probably when we ordered the pay stations,
Okay,
but nobody told us that. So,
yeah, you don't know until you go through the process.
Right. It's new and it's a volunteer process, so we'll get through it, but hopefully the general public can be patient with us as we move forward. Any other items for future agendas?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Thank you very much, everybody.